This is a video for Lisa because Lisa said that she was having problems with her her InstantPot, and it sounded like she was ready to give up on it. And I wanted to show you, Lisa, one of the things you can use the InstantPot for that is just fantastic is hard-boiled eggs. There is a method called the 5-5-5 method. It's 5 minutes of pressure cooking, 5 minutes of natural release, and 5 minutes in a ice bath. It takes about 5 minutes to 10 minutes for the InstantPot to heat up and begin to cook as a pressure cooker, but that's any pressure cooker's like that. It doesn't come to temperature, and the little thing doesn't pop up until the water's boiling and pressure builds up. So that's not a fault of this. It's the fault of all pressure cookers. But once it starts cooking, it'll cook way faster. So hard-boiled eggs in 5 minutes, 10 minutes at tops is pretty darn good considering the quality of the eggs you get. So anyhow, I put two cups of water in here. I've got a little trivet in there to raise up the basket out of the water. I've got a deep fry basket from my old deep fryer that I've kept and I use in here all the time for stuff like this. Just set it in the InstantPot, put the lid on. Make sure that the seal is pushed down all the way around, because that will cause a problem if you don't have it pushed down properly. So then you just set it for 5 minutes, hit the pressure cook, check to see it's set for 5 minutes, set the keep warm off, and it is ready to rock and roll. Make sure that your pressure thing is pushed away from you so it's sealed. And then after you hear it beep saying, okay, it's on, everything's good, keep an eye on it. Make sure that the button pops up, because if you start hearing hissing, when you should not hear any sound at all, maybe a slight amount of hissing, but very, very little. If it's hissing that you can obviously hear it, there's a problem. It's probably the seal is not seated right. So open it back up, take a look at that seal, and you'll probably find that the seal has dropped down. And just push it back into place, put the lid back on, and it should be good to go. That's the only problem I've ever had with this thing, is that when the seal's not right. So you learn to check it, because you get all screwed up otherwise. So I've got it set for 5 minutes. When it reaches temperature and that button pops up and it reaches pressure, it'll turn to 5 minutes. That'll take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes for that to happen. And then what I normally do is once it starts, I set my timer. And for the cooking time plus the natural release time. So if it was like 5 minutes, it would be a total of 10 minutes. Then I can walk away. After 10 minutes, I come back and set this off. Turn the pressure. And you'll see on the next video about that. All right. Okay, so now the timer just started. It's been about 5 minutes, and finally there was enough pressure. The red button popped up. It wasn't making any hissing noises, which sometimes indicates that the seal is not right. Once you get to this part and it's not making any noises, you are good to go. And what I typically do, because this is a 5-5-5 egg, hard-boiled egg recipe, it's 5 minutes of cooking, 5 minutes of natural release, meaning that you don't turn it this way. You don't release it. You just let it release on its own for 5 minutes. Then you go ahead and release it, let out all the rest of the steam, and you put it in an ice bath for 5 minutes. So it's 5-5-5. So I'm going to set my timer for 10 minutes and come back, because it's 5 minutes cooking, 5 minutes of natural release. I don't need to come back for another 9 minutes. So I'm going to set that right now. Okay, so my timer went off. It went off 5 minutes ago, and it's been sitting here just like this for 5 minutes. So 5 minutes of cooking, 5 minutes of natural release, meaning that you don't spin this way and let the air come out. You let it go out on its own. If you let it sit like this for a long time, that button will drop. It'll eventually lose the pressure. So now all we have to do is just flip that way, and we'll let the pressure come out. And I've got water here, got an ice bath ready to go. I'll see you on the other side once it's released. Sometimes I take the knife or something and just push down on that. Yeah, it's almost fully released. Oh, it's done. Ooh. Once that's dropped, you can take the lid off. You can take the eggs out. They look great. Stick them in the ice bath. I'm going to put this... ooh, that was hot. That was not what I wanted to do. Put some more water in there. There we go. So we got the ice bath going for 5 minutes. So it has been in the ice bath for 5 minutes. I pulled them out and drained them. And I'm going to give this a whack and see if I can't peel this one-handed. And I bet I can, because it's amazing how the shell just falls off. So let's see what happens. I'll just do it one-handed here. It isn't as easy with one hand, but it is certainly super easy compared to what it is with a normally cooked hard-boiled egg. And these are fairly fresh too. Ta-da! I'm going to have one now. Perfectly that is cooked. It's just amazing.